Hi there, listener. You're about to experience TADPOG. Tyler and Dave play old games, and there will be plenty of game talk, but also copious amounts of crude, off-color, offensive, and immature speech. So if you are of a rather sensitive humor constitution, we're just letting you know what you're in for with this show. It has games. It has jokes. You know, just games and jokes. Take the games, take the jokes, and have a good time.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to another TADPOG podcast. It's a show that happens twice a week where two old guys and one rather wizened sage talk about games that are not in the least bit old and are actually very current.
Older now than when we first started talking about it.
It's getting older. So we'll keep doing episodes about it every week until it's officially old.
Yeah, I like it.
So again, this week, people said, let's do more. So, okay, that's all we've been wanting to play, so here's more. Fallout 4. And so for another fresh perspective, we're having Ian on, because he's been playing it. He's all about it. He's got stuff to say about it.
Oh, yeah. Before our last episode, we probably spent like 20 minutes talking about Fallout 4.
Brandon looked incredibly bored.
Brandon needs to play it too, so that we can record our fourth Fallout 4 episode with Brandon.
Before we dive into that, my brother has also been playing a ton of Fallout 4. And for the last 2 weeks running, I've tried to get him on.
Yeah, he should be sitting in this chair here.
He should be. And I called him because I texted him 2 days ago and told him I didn't get a response. And
it's always a good
today
sign.
I talked to him. I said, "Did you get my text?" And I called him a few expletives. "Did you get my text?" And he was just like, "Oh, yeah, I got some work to do, but I should get it done, and that should work." 7:30, okay. So I called him at 7:30. He's like, "Oh, I guess I should have probably told you I'm not coming." Okay.
Well, I knew there was a problem because I was sitting here when you called him, and
I called him that's what I don't call anybody.
You don't. When I heard you say, "Can I speak to Ryan?" is when I was like, "Oh, he's not coming."
I called his phone and his wife answered.
If he didn't pick up his own phone, that's a bad sign. Go ahead and plan to record without him.
I mean, Kenna was over there. I'm surprised he didn't have Kenna answer the phone. But well, so I had a story about Ryan. So I was hoping he would be here, but he'll hear it tomorrow on his way to work. So
embellish it a little bit, then.
Yeah. So unless you're some sort of like sociopath or something like that, like I feel like people are the worst that they are in their life when they're in middle school. It's just you're the worst person you're going to be when you're in middle school.
I think for most people, you're right.
Yeah. It's a transitional thing.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
How was Ryan in middle school?
I had my own high school drama going on. So Ryan and I don't remember us talking all that much because he's 5 years younger than me. So he was in middle school when I was a senior.
I remember the first time I met Ryan, and it was some of us had gone to see a movie. I can't remember what movie it was, and Ryan was there. And the whole time I had no idea who's your brother. Until afterwards I asked him, I was like, "Who is that guy?" And they're like, "That's Ryan." And I kind of look at him like, "Well," they're like, "Tyler's brother? Tyler's a brother?"
We weren't particularly close until we got older. But I remember because this is me being awful in middle school. So I don't know why I did this, but Ryan, and he still is. He is a lay around the house in your underwear kind of guy. So I remember all my memories of childhood are him laying around in tidy whities all over the house. Now it's boxers, but every time I go over to his house, unexpectedly, he's sitting around in his boxers.
White boxers, though.
Very tight white boxers. So I remember we were on the living room watching TV. It's something I didn't care about. And Ryan was sitting in front of the TV in his tidy whities. And like Dad had done something to make me mad, I think. I mean, it's par for the course. But I went back to the room. Ryan eventually came back there because we shared this TV VCR combo that we would play PlayStation on back and forth in our rooms and argue about it. He came back there, and I was like, Ryan, you know what would be really funny? Like, the Mom and Dad think it's really funny if you do this. What? It's like, well, go back in the living room and put like both of your heels on either side of the TV, like right in front of the TV. Stick your hand in your pants and then just start going, oh, I'm playing with myself. Oh, I'm playing with myself. It'll be super funny. And he's like, okay.
Seems legit.
So I remember I went and I sat like on the edge of the kitchen and watched him do this. He did it, and my dad immediately went into a fury. He popped up and he grabbed Ryan and he told him not to do it again. And Ryan was like, Tyler told me to. So then I draw all the aggro. He just teleports across the room into the kitchen, grabs me and just unloads on me for you don't tell your brother to do that. You don't do that. You don't blah blah blah. And then, it wasn't until years later that he actually caught me masturbating.
Certainly never ever talk about it on the internet.
Yeah.
This is between us forever.
So yeah, and Ryan, like now he's got we share the Holland gene of hair loss, but back then, like he was a very cherubic kid. Like he had like a mass of like blonde curls. Like he was just like a cute, adorable kid that I made do that just to make my dad extremely angry.
It worked.
It did work.
What's up, Internet? I am Dave, your bespectacled host, and my sister listens occasionally. So I have a younger sister, very, very much younger than I am. There's 13 years difference. So if she's listening to this, sorry, but since Tyler told a story about his brother, I feel like I should tell a story about my sister. When I was in high school, she wanted to be in my room constantly. Like that is where that's where she wanted to be. So like when I was 15, she was 2. When I was 16, she was 3, and it was just one of those things where it was like, I'm going to do more basic math problems for you here and there.
Wait, 15.
You guys know how old she was when I was 17?
Carry the 1.
So she always wanted to be in my room, and she used to annoy me because I would shut the door and I'd want to do teenage boy things like plant my heels on either side of the TV and put my hands down.
Right.
Yep.
We've all been there, huh?
Tyler didn't even tell me to do it or anything. And she would slap her hand on the door saying, Bayed. She couldn't say my name. She would call me Bayed. Let me in, let me in. So,
like a cat scratching at the door. I get it.
Exactly. So I would eventually, my mom would force me, be nice to your sister, let her in, hang out with her. So I would always begrudgingly do it. And I never noticed what she did. Every time she came in my room, she did something. I never noticed it. And I really hope I haven't told this story on the podcast before, but if I have, it's been so long that I've forgotten it. When she would come in my room, she would do something secretly. And I never noticed it, and my mom never noticed it until I moved out for college. I had this file cabinet. I had this 2-drawer file cabinet that was right next to the bed. I would kind of use it as like an end table kind of deal. Like I would lie in bed and put a drink on it. If I had an iPad at the time, that would have been baller because I would have been the first ever. But that's like where an iPad would have sat.
Is this from the future?
So when I moved away to college, I didn't take everything with me at once. I kind of took things in chunks into the dorm rooms at Murray. And I got a call from my mom, and I was on campus, and I was in between classes, and I saw that she was calling me, and I picked up the phone, and she said, "The back of your file cabinet is disgusting." And it was one of those things where it was like, huh? What is wrong with the back of my file cabinet? And she's like, don't pretend like you don't know. I was like, I do not know what's the matter with the back of my file cabinet. And she said, the whole back is just filled with dry boogers. And I was like, I swear to you that those are not my boogers. And then she asked my sister if she did it. She was like, yeah.
Where else am I going to put these? Banned. Let me into the room.
Man, he won't let me do it. She's just standing at the door with fingers full of boogers. Let me in.
Which is 3-year-old, perfectly normal. Didn't know the agenda.
Exactly.
Didn't know she had a plan.
So more importantly, I think that my sister's boyfriend listens to the show now. So you're welcome. Check the back of your file cabinet now. What's up, Ian?
Man, not a lot. It's so good to be back. Seems like it's been so long since I've been here.
Yeah,
Just,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't get around enough. You know?
I haven't been here in a day. It feels like a long time
Yeah,
for me. It
yeah.
legitimately does feel like, it's been a while.
So I learned something, I guess, about myself the other day that I wasn't prepared for. This is porn related, by the way, because
Perfect.
I do not have a brother or a sister, so I don't have any good brother or sister stories for you.
Got a lot of good porn stories. though.
Well, maybe. Well, it's funny. I don't typically. I mean, I was looking at porn on the internet back when news groups were the only way to get porn. I mean, even so far back as BBS. Do you remember BBSs?
Yes.
I guess
Tyler's
what you're talking
you
about.
no idea. These were like Fallout computers, like the screens on Fallout computers, right? And you would use dial-up to connect to these BBSs, and you could read topics and posts. This was like forum posts.
It was a bulletin
It
board
was all
service,
text.
right? Isn't that what
Yeah,
BBS?
bulletin board service is what it stood for. And as they sort of started to mature, there would be porn. Inevitably, there was porn. So and they were like all pixelated, images that were scanned in from magazines, terrible quality stuff. But so I mean, I as a result, I mean, I've seen a lot of porn, and I do love the porn, but I don't really find myself looking at it that much anymore. And I don't know why. Again, it's not because I don't love it. I can't. It's in the top 5 things of my life that I have a huge amount of love for.
Like time dedicated to,
Porn.
for me, would be like World of Warcraft, number 1, porn probably number 2.
Yeah. And I think it's healthy. I think it's wonderful, and I love it. But occasionally, despite the fact that I don't typically actively look at it, I'll be on Reddit from time to time. I'm like, I'll go look a little porn,
Oh yeah, my main account has so many boob-related subreddits that just most of my front page is like I'll get a few news stories and then just a lot of boobs.
It's the only way you can handle them sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like, whoa, that story was
Oh,
rough.
Syria. Oh, okay. The hanging boob. Okay.
Okay. There we
Huge
go.
areolas. All right. Nice.
From Syria to Siri.
Boob.
Yeah, it's a
Oh.
porn deep cut.
So I had, you go down that Reddit rabbit hole.
Yeah.
You find something that catches your interest, you look at it, and it's a cross post from another forum, and you go to that forum and
I've
you
never
find
even heard of that
something.
subreddit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, subreddit. I say forums, but and then you just keep going, and that's usually how it progresses.
What's
right?
the source for this? Okay.
Yeah. So I was just browsing around, looking at some random porn on Reddit the other day at my computer, and I saw this link to this video. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll watch this video. I don't really have a lot of fetishes that I know of. So this video opens up, and these two
Yeah.
Girls? I guess girls is my
girls is
my
pretty much my
fetish.
fetish. Vaginas, love them. Can't get enough of them. So it's this video. These two girls standing in like a New York City apartment, like on the high floor of a New York City apartment next to an open window, wearing only t-shirts and knee-high socks, nothing else, completely naked otherwise, and smoking cigarettes. And I'm a smoker, and I get judged for that a lot. I get a lot of harsh treatment for that shit, and I don't give a fuck. I know it's dangerous. I know it's bad for me. I try to keep it away from other people, but my wife smokes, and it's always been sort of a thing for me that the girls that I've dated, it was always kind of a bonus that they smoked as well, because I don't like to offend people with it. I certainly try to keep it away from anyone who doesn't like it. But these two girls are standing there with nothing on but this t-shirt and knee-high socks, and they're smoking cigarettes, and that's not what really turns me on.
Have you ever seen a smoke job?
No.
That is where the girl's like giving a blowjob and a hand job while smoking and blowing the smoke around it, and
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
There'll be a link to that in the show notes.
I'll look that up. So they're standing around talking, and they're talking about how they love living in the city. There's just like two, what you perceive to be two normal women, just normal, having a normal conversation, bottomless, smoking a cigarette.
Like Tyler and I do.
Yeah.
Without the cigarettes.
Out of the...
We just stand outside and talk with no
We have
bottles.
roasted squid and
Yeah.
roast candy. We just sit around, whitey tighties and no pants.
Knee socks.
This has eyes. Gross.
So I'm
That's
like,
disgusting.
not that porn really ever has to have any context for me.
Right.
But I'm wondering, okay, I don't get it. I don't understand. Fine, they're talking about this greatness. And then in mid-conversation, one of them starts pissing on the floor. That doesn't even break, doesn't even stop talking.
No acknowledgement.
It just starts flowing, and then the other one starts peeing too, and they both start peeing on the floor, smoking their cigarettes and talking like nothing is fucking happening. It was the
Incontinence. It sucks. No. Yeah. We.
and then they just finish pissing, and then they put out their cigarettes, and then they walk off camera, and that's it. And it was hot as hell.
Oh, I was about to say, did you feel like you were gypped or something?
I could not. I didn't know. I guess maybe because I didn't know it was coming. I'm not.
Yeah.
Again, I don't
It's
really
a
have any
surprise.
fetishes. I'm not into getting pissed on. Not that I have a problem with that at all. I think it's fine, whatever you're into. But
Yeah.
personally, I'm indifferent to that sort of thing. It's like, well, you know, I'm sure under the right circumstances, it's hotter. And apparently, just standing there having a conversation and smoking a cigarette and letting it go did it for me. I was just like, holy shit! I watched it.
Play that again.
I watched it again.
What is this called? Is this a thing?
I've been there. I've been there when I've seen a video and been like, well, I need a search term.
Yeah. I just, so that's what I learned. Apparently, I guess I have a fetish. I don't know. And it's not, I think it's just casual. And I don't know what it's called. I don't really know what to look for. Casual pissing on, I don't know if it's,
That's probably a subreddit.
Pissing with friends.
I'll have to look it up. I guess.
Random acts of pissing.
If I find out what it's labeled, it's got to be labeled something.
has
I'll
to
let
be.
you know, and you can put it in some show notes later or something. But I couldn't believe it. It was.
I wonder if it's the casual nature. Like if it's like a girl like, hey, check this out. If that still does it, or if it's just like the nonchalant sort of.
I think it was just sort of the nonchalant. I didn't see it coming. I guess I should. I didn't read. I went back and read the title. I like go through the thumbnails and see, and then just look. If I'm looking at something, I look at it. I don't necessarily read the caption for the post. I just look at it, and the caption was 2 girls piss on the floor smoking a cigarette. Had I seen it, but it was fortunate.
Brought to you by Philip Morris. I would have loved at the end, just like a logo comes up. Oh, okay.
Had I seen the title, I might not have clicked on it, just because I might have thought that wouldn't have
gross.
done anything for me. I don't even want to go so far as to say, "Oh, gross." I just would have been like, "Well, that's fucking weird," and just
check out Bored and Ignored. The subreddit.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
and free
Where they're
use.
just getting railed and they're like on their phone.
Like
or
they,
something.
yeah.
Excellent stuff. And maybe it was just sort of like you said, Tyler, the nonchalant way it happened, and that there was no acknowledgement of it. One of the first porn movies I ever saw was a 70s porn movie called Barbara Broadcast, and I don't know if you've all have ever heard of this thing,
No.
but it's typical 70s porn. I mean, the music, the big fros, the huge bush, all of that.
Double fros.
Oh, big time. And the opening scene, it takes place in this restaurant in Manhattan, and people are ordering. They're all sitting in this big dining room, and there's a big buffet, and people are ordering blowjobs. Only the women are ordering blowjobs, so the waiter would unzip and whip out his dick, and the woman that placed the order would give him a blowjob. And he would jizz all over her face or whatever, or onto a plate or something. And then
Dinner is served.
there were people on the buffet fucking with other people just getting food out from around them, everybody's just having this big, massive restaurant orgy, and it's just It's going to Walmart. It is the most normal thing in the world. You're here. I'm going to have a steak and she'll suck your dick.
I want to see this. Mainly because I want to like take note of the extras in the scene. Are they just eating in the background?
Yes, absolutely. And there's the whole premise of the story is kind of lame, but whatever. You have to. They hurry up and get to it, but it's just this weird. It's like an alternate universe type thing where this sort of behavior is just perfectly. It would be completely normal to see some dude giving it to this woman over the fucking apples in the produce section, and you just go, "Excuse me, get your apples and go." You know?
I don't mean to bother you guys, but I really need a Granny Smith right now.
I don't know, and I think that video I saw sort of maybe awoke that in my mind.
I bet it is. It's not. I don't think it's the urine. I bet it's just the casual ignoring of a taboo thing.
Right. Maybe I think you're right. Yeah. And so there it is. I've learned something about myself that apparently I'm into whatever that is, whatever that casual, nonchalant thing. So Barbara broadcast. First of all, you can find that apparently the video I watched was in the P subreddit.
Okay.
Again, another clue that I completely missed. It's got to be in there somewhere still. And then Barbara Broadcast is the name of the first porn I ever saw.
There's a show that Dave and he came over like every day for a few days, and we watched the whole series called Dave's Old Porn.
Yeah.
It's Dave Attell on, I think maybe it was HBO. It was HBO or Showtime.
It was Showtime.
Showtime. And it's Dave Attell, and he has a different comedian guest, but they're watching old porn and doing
commentary,
Mystery Science Theater,
like MST3K style
over old porn. Okay. And sometimes they'll have like the old porn star on their show and talking about what the scene was about and the other comedian. It only lasted 2 seasons, so it was a pretty funny show.
It's an amazing show.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Something else that reminds me of that same sort of thing I was just talking about. Have you ever seen the news where the woman just giving the news and taking off all her clothes?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. You know, nobody says anything. Nobody does anything. And now I'm starting to get it because I've seen all this stuff, and now it's like I'm remembering. I'm like, hey, I guess I am.
That worked.
Yeah. So there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Legend of the Red Dragon? That's a weird segue.
No.
You were talking about BBSs, and that's the one thing I remember the most about the BBS I used to frequent. Were the games. One of the games was Legend of the Red Dragon, which was like you would log in every day, and you have a set number of actions that you could do. Mm-hmm. And once you were done with those actions, they wouldn't refresh until the next day. You'd log in and do more.
I never
You'd
did.
level up, and you'd get loot that you would use to buy armor and swords and stuff in the town. It's pretty cool.
So it's kind of game you play on your phone now, only it was
more like a game that you'd play on your TI-86.
It was like Zork.
When you were in high school. Yeah.
Okay.
There's still, I think there's a Legend of the Green Dragon, which is an emulation of it.
That's pretty cool. I never did play that.
It's neat. I've thought about asking if you would want to do a show on it, but there's not much to it. So, and I've never finished it. So it's one of those things where it's like, in order to like get to a high enough level where you could actually fight the dragon, crazy amounts of time.
You can play Pitfall in Fallout 4.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's called Pitfall.
Pitfall, thank you. I just found that tape yesterday.
And there's Atomic.
Because there's the one that's like Missile Command.
One that's it, Atomic Command.
Right.
And then there's the Donkey Kong one.
I feel like I got another
I don't
one.
remember the name of it.
Red. It's something about communism.
Yeah.
For the Donkey Kong
Red
one.
Menace.
Red Menace.
That's the one.
So let's talk about Fallout 4 then.
Let's do it.
Let's do that. Ian, tell us about your character.
I always roll a female character in games like this.
Yeah.
And I do that maybe because of a latent desire to be a woman. I don't know.
That's why I do it.
But also there's some cold logic hiding behind that as well. If I've got to stare at the ass of something for 40, 50, 60 hours, I'd rather it be a woman. And I don't play in over the shoulder. We talked about this yesterday, but I occasionally do. And when the cutscenes since Fallout now, when you're engaging an NPC, it does a cinematic thing where it shows your face and stuff. I'd rather look at a woman. So I always roll a woman. She is pretty basic. I mean, I kind of started off. I usually,
basic like the kids use basic, or basic like
She's a basic bitch. Fallout.
I'll play a basic bitch in Fallout.
simple. She's special.
Like the kids use it. Thanks, Grandpa.
It's these days.
You mean basic like the kiddos nowadays use basic?
Simple. Just very kind of plain and very kind of. I think her look. I don't like building characters that have the pink mohawks and the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either.
I always
like to
want to do
create-
that, and then I get into the character creation. It's like, no, just regular guy.
Because
I make my women look like classic 50s style. Like that's what I go for whenever I make a female Fallout character.
I hear you.
I don't go
And
anything crazy.
And I try to do just average woman, cute, but maybe not gorgeous and not
Eyebrows
fast,
on fleek.
but not eyebrows on fleek. That pussy be on fleek. Eyebrows.
I want to make her attainable, but not like a bitch.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah. I mean, you laugh.
Like
but
if I
yeah.
run into a Fallout, like I want to know I'd have a chance with this girl.
Exactly. But I don't ever mind. And so I started her off this time. Usually I'm really, in Fallout games, I've always been real big about strength. I always start with mostly strength because you get more carrying capacity and you get harder melee because if you're out of ammo, melee is the way to roll.
Yeah.
Right? And so this time I kept her at about 4 and I gave her a lot more intelligence because I finally figured out the trick is get your intelligence early because the more intelligence you have, the more XP you get when you get XP. So I've actually put a lot more thought into this Fallout than I have the last 2, which was 3 in New Vegas for me is the only ones I never played the original 2.
Yeah. We're going to.
Yeah, I want to. I mean, just because I have so much respect for this franchise, and Bethesda just brings it home every single
Fuck yeah,
time
they
they do anything. They put their heart and soul into it, and I have nothing but love for that company and for what they do. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who have a problem with something they do, but I don't. I shelter myself from that shit. I don't care because their product to me is always 100%. Every time. And
People complain
glitch-
about the
glitches
bugs
aside
and the glitches, but like making a game of that scope,
Exactly.
like I can't fucking imagine.
not
So-
just a game with that scope. I mean, when you say scope, I hope you're referring to the vast amounts of backstory and the vast amounts of thought that go into every little piece, all of the little comic book covers and all of every little detail that's in there. There is somebody that put some work into making that happen.
The skeletons place that tell a story, just the background, like the wordless play, the Fallout background tells you.
And so when I create this character, I try to make her, I want to make her relevant to that universe that Bethesda has spent so much time creating. I don't want to, I knew that the story was this is a suburban housewife, and I know there's more to her backstory, which I'm very close to finding out what it is, but I'm not going to hint at any of that.
I still haven't touched a main quest.
Well, I have, and
the
I'm
game.
actually going to back off the main quests a little bit, but I want her to be the character that Bethesda sort of intended for her to be. If you're going to play her, she's a suburban housewife whose son has been taken from her, living in this post-apocalyptic world, and I am role playing when I'm playing this game, and I never do that.
Well, let me tell you one weird thing I've come across. Then I wonder if it changes by game or what it is. But there's a quest called like the last voyage of the USS Constitution, and basically you walk up and there is a huge fucking pirate ship that is sitting on a building, and when you run up to it, there's a Mr. Gutsy that walks up to you. It's green, friendly, whatever. You stop, conversation mode starts, and it scans you, and it says lists like a big number. It lists like your character's birth date, and then says occupation lawyer. And because it's an old robot that still has the that contains the logs of the United States, it recognizes you as a U.S. citizen. And then because you register as a U.S. citizen, it conscripts you into the army.
Oh, wow.
So you can roll with it. So I just wonder if, like, is your character a lawyer? Is this something that's generated different quests? Or is that some weird part of the backstory you don't get before? Like, was your character a lawyer?
Is it based on your special, maybe? Maybe how you've assigned your
That's a good point.
ability points?
Yeah.
I will tell you, though.
Because I was all
you were
charisma first, intelligence second.
That would be really cool.
That would be.
I'm gonna pay attention when that pops up for me.
I will too, because my character right now is all intelligence and high strength and charisma. So we'll see. By the time I get
Intelligence
there,
with strength and charisma. Wrestler. Professional wrestler.
yeah, probably. But I will say that there is one point in the actual story of the game where you're visiting a memory of another NPC, and again, I'm not going to talk about it, but at one point you hear his sort of narrative about a memory, and the memory, he says something like, I had no idea who she was, and boy was I surprised to find out. And it was like, that really gives you a big tease as to what the fuck is going on. And again, it goes to their...
you get the idea that he's talking about you?
He is 100%
Okay, so you know.
definitely talking about you.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't want to give away too much context to the story for any listeners that may not be there, including yourself.
Yeah,
I just don't want to spoil anything. It will come up. It will happen it's one of the main plot points in the story. It's one of those things like in Doctor Who where there's fixed points in time.
Yeah.
You will cross this point. And I'm really again, all about the crafting of the story and the thought to how this all fits together. And, I've always been a huge BioShock fan. The Rapture was my home. I couldn't get away from it. I keep going back to it. I love it.
2K is designing another BioShock.
Oh, thank God.
I read
Ken
that
Levine's
today.
not involved, which makes me sad.
It is sad, but
he wasn't involved in BioShock 2 either, and that wasn't horrible.
I liked BioShock too. I'm with Galen in that sense. I think I've mentioned that before. But I was super into BioShock. I was super into that, what the story and telling that they were doing there and everything else. And it is now, as Fallout 4 has become such a huge part of my routine now, that I've realized I am as into Fallout as I have ever been into BioShock, just because I love everything about it. The Pip-Boy and all the little marketing stuff. I didn't buy any of the stuff. I didn't buy the special editions. I have a friend who got the Pip-Boy that you can put the iPhone in, and it's really cool. But I could, I'm trying not to blow my wad on all this extra stuff that may eventually just sit around and collect dust. But I can't stop looking at your bobblehead over there. These things I love.
They have the whole, like, I was just telling
you were
Dave
telling
about it
me this.
before. Bethesda store has those bobbleheads, and they have like the strength bobblehead, the perception bobblehead, the lockpick bobblehead.
I've got to get one.
I hate that they're $15 each. The 5-inch ones are $15.
That's not terrible.
It's not
not
terrible.
bad,
If you
considering.
want to get all of them, but I don't like that they have like different sizes, like 5-inch ones, 6-inch ones, 7-inch ones, and then they go up in cost the bigger they are. But they're all different. Like if you get the whole collection, they're all going to be different sizes. I don't like that.
Yeah.
The one you've got there is just the right.
That's the 5.
Okay, I like that size. That is exactly what I would have envisioned it to be. And apparently, see, all of this marketing works on me, and I'm I just can't help myself. But apparently, Target is going to have Nuka-Cola.
Really?
And Jones Soda is making Nuka-Cola.
Yeah, like it's their blue. They have
Quantum.
that vibrant blue, whatever Jones soda. They're gonna label
blueberry
that
or
as
whatever.
Nuka-Cola
Label that
Quantum and
Nuka
stuff.
Quantum.
Yeah.
And so I really want to get some, but I'm the guy that won't ever open them. I'm like you and all your sodas back, your
my
Jones
D&D
sodas
Jones
back
sodas.
here.
Well, take a look at those because that's what'll happen to them if you don't drink them.
Yeah,
those
they
used to
did.
be colors.
Right.
now there's.
See, I
clear
made the
and
mistake
brown.
of sitting them in my windowsill in DC. They'd probably be the same color if I just hadn't had them bleached by the sun for 2 years.
If you kept them in a closet,
Yeah.
you live here, Jones Soda.
Well,
I wish
you
but-
wouldn't allow the Jones Soda to become. You've just trapped it in its bottle forever.
Yeah.
It
now no one wants to drink it.
cannot.
They don't want to drink the green apple that used to be green and is now
cannot serve
clear.
its purpose.
Clear apple, dog.
But I've been That's just a long way of me saying I'm really enjoying this game, and I'm so glad that you guys are playing it. And I've got a few friends that everywhere I go, I know somebody who's playing the game.
Yeah.
And we talk about it like it's shit that really happened. You know, I mean, we're all that far into this, and where have you done? And I told you guys the story about my fight with the Sentry bot and how fucking ridiculous that was. But I found myself telling this story to people as if it really fucking happened.
Yeah.
And everyone else is telling me stories about their Fallout experience as if it really happened.
Yeah, because it made it so big. You have your own unique experiences.
Yes.
I mean, you had the common threads of some quests, but everyone, like that quest, you and I, Ian, got fucking mauled by those robots at the racetrack. Meanwhile, Dave sneaks in and is able to, like, deactivate them all.
I didn't even sneak in. I just walked in, and the announcer was like, "Oh, looks like we got a problem." And I'm just kind of like looking around, like I'm just here for some scrap.
Hey, a terminal.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I could get XP for hacking this terminal.
Exactly. Just
You were
walk up
already
to the
that
terminal.
lucky John Arbuckle idiot savant character. Hey!
Let's see.
Just walk in.
Turn
I
these-
can make these robots kill the raiders. Yep.
That's less work for me, more loot.
Not as much experience, but that's okay.
It's worth it. Worth it.
Have you guys been to Good Neighbor?
Now,
I just went to Good Neighbor last night, and I'm actually on a magazine quest, picking up all the magazines that I can.
Oh, okay.
And there was a couple in Good Neighbor, and I went in there. Actually, I was on one of the Nick Valentine quests too.
Yeah,
so I
he has
went,
a lot of shit in there.
went by there and ran into the.
You know where I'm going.
Should I
yeah.
say it? You say it.
Well, because my experience was, because I wasn't expecting it. I went to Good Neighbor, and like I'm walking around. I go to this one bar.
what is
and-
Good Neighbor?
It's a
Sorry
town.
to interrupt.
It's a town that is run by a ghoul who has too much power.
Okay.
Basically.
The mayor of
Typical
Diamond
ghoul.
City exiled all the ghouls from Diamond City.
Okay.
So all the ghouls went and created Good Neighbor outside of Diamond City.
Exactly like the hotel in Fallout 3, where they
Yeah.
they had a little ghoul settlement nearby.
Tenpenny Tower.
Yeah,
They don't, it
Tenpenny,
doesn't
thank
have
you.
to just be ghouls. There are humans and stuff there, but like the ghouls run the shops and the leader's a ghoul, and they're not like anti-human. They're anti-Diamond City.
Okay.
But yeah. But basically anything goes there.
Okay.
Shooting anybody in the street doesn't matter.
So murder. That translates to me murder as many ghouls as you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Because like when you enter, a ghoul threatens you, and I mean, I had enough charisma to just be like, "No, man, fuck you." And he's like, "Okay, I'll back off. It's fine." I mean, I didn't even protect your money anyway.
I did
Fine.
not.
Typical ghoul reaction.
Yeah.
I did not. And the mayor walks up and says, "Why are you giving her a hard time? You know, back the fuck off, whatever." And walks up and says, "Listen, man, you know me, and I'm just gonna stab right in the belly." Dude's dead, and I looted him. The dude was like, "Welcome to Good Neighbor. If you need anything, I'll be right
Hancock
over
the leader.
here."
A ghoul in a
Hancock the leader.
tri-corner hat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Hancock a lot.
But anyway,
But I go down to their piano bar, and I talk to the woman singing, and I made several difficult charisma checks, and she's like, "Let's go back to my place."
I didn't pass one.
So
I wouldn't either. Don't feel bad.
if you pass them all, then you fuck her. Like I wake up in a room in the hotel.
Roxanne or Rox.
Yeah, something like that. Hotel rocks off. I wake up in that hotel. I get the Lover's Embrace perk. So anytime you have sex, you have a plus 15% extra XP for
I heard about
X
that.
amount of time. Yeah.
Does that stack with well rested?
Well rested? I don't know. I mean, you sleep for the night to get that perk. So I guess it doesn't. So you can't. I don't know if you could sleep and do that at the same time. But
I got the quit licking yourself perk because I only travel with dog meat, so I get negative 15 experience when I wake
it's worth
up.
it.
Yeah.
So I sleep with her, and she's like, "Hey, that was good. I'll see you around." She walks out, then I'm walking out, and all of a sudden I just hear, "Oh my God." And I turn around, and it's a ghoul that takes me a second to recognize. And the ghoul is like, how is this you? How do you look so good? And then I look at him, and he's got a Vault Tech jacket on and a Vault Tech hat. And it is the
Is it the guy? Is the
it's
salesman?
the
at the beginning?
salesman from the very beginning of the game. And he's
Who
like,
you run past at the beginning, who he's trying to get in and
Right,
they won't
right.
let him in.
yeah. So yeah, he's like, "How did you? I've never seen a ghoul look so preserved. How are you doing this?" And you explain it to him, and he's like, "Fucking Vault-Tec." So then, like,
I mean, I'm still repping them.
Well, he didn't have anything else to wear. Right?
yeah, he's like, there's not much needed out in the wasteland for a 200-year-old vault tech salesman. So then, like, I offered him a job out in Sanctuary Hills, and he took it, and he's out there now.
He keeps saying, You'll come visit, right?
Yeah.
You'll come visit, right? But I did the same thing. I said, go to Sanctuary. I'm like, go, dude. I don't care. You're going to benefit me.
Does any static come from that? Do you know?
I don't know yet. I mean, I literally just did it last night. I think it's just he's just there, just doing his thing.
I have a few
vaults.
ghoul residents, so it's been
Yeah.
fine. And then, like, I went to Diamond City, and there's like this, basically this hobo asking for a Nuka-Cola, and I give him a Nuka-Cola, and he explains like, "Yeah, I shot my liver. I can't drink anything else, and this is the only thing around that perks me up." So then you can offer him like, "Why don't you work for me then?" And then now he goes out, and he's also in Sanctuary Hills. He's my weapons vendor.
Huh, cool.
So, and I found out about a buddy of mine was telling me yesterday about establishing a supply line, which is why I'm building my charisma. And you need charisma of 6 and a local leader 1 perk. And apparently, what this does for you, this is a tip for anybody who doesn't already know this. It establishes a supply line between your settlements. So your stuff that you craft, the stuff you scrap and recycle goes into your workbench. Now everything you scrap and recycle at each will be available to all of them, which I did not know about, and now I'm desperate to have because I've got all of these resources in 2 or 3 different areas where I've found the workshops, and never able to. I can't use this here where I've got my bases at Red Rocket, right outside the sanctuary, because I like the garage door. I think that's really cool.
I love that you find the dog companion at the gas station called Red Rocket.
Yeah. I think that's probably not
I did
accidental.
not even get that.
Yeah, I love that. Like when that happened, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Bethesda.
But anyway, now that I'm going to do that and now have access, so when you settle someplace, go and scrap everything and get everything picked up, and you'll have access to those resources at your other places. So
I don't know if I'm going to pick that up. I know I've heard Tyler mention it and you've mentioned it. I don't know because I've got all of my resources in Sanctuary Hills. Like that's where everything is. So it's not a big deal for me to fast travel there.
But eventually that stuff's going to run out. You can only recycle so much inside one area before it's just gone. So
I just like not having to like, okay, I need to craft this and this and this, and I have to get it out of my supply at Sanctuary Hills and then go there. So now I just...
I see. When you're crafting in another setup, like when you're building things.
I have a supply line going from one city to the other. All that stuff's available. So I have all my normal residents. Like I have my unique residents are still there and run my shops, and my non-unique residents are all doing supply lines to like all the other all my other settlements.
See, that's why it's not bothering me because all I'm using, I'm barely building up Sanctuary.
Yeah, I'm not really doing a great job of it myself either.
I'm like, when I scrap, it's because I want to make my power armor as awesome as possible, and I might need this later. So that's why I grab stuff and then just.
Well, see, I like get local leader, get 2 ranks in local leader, and then a rank in the other charisma that makes bartering better, and then you can make vendor stalls in your cities, and then like if you get. They're expensive. I think if you get both ranks in local leader and both ranks in cap seller or whatever the fuck that one is. So I've got emporiums for weapons, armor, scrap, food, and medical. And then the second rank in the caps one allows you to invest money in them. So they're what they can sell you back. The caps are higher. So now I make 800 caps, per week or whatever off all the vendor stalls that shows up in my Sanctuary Hills fund. And then I can go buy good gear from them, and they all have like 1,200, 1,300 caps, every one for me to sell stuff back to.
Yeah.
See, I haven't gotten anywhere near that in depth on the settlements.
I haven't either.
I love that is a thing.
I think it's cool. I don't think it's something I'm going to do, but I do think
I want to
it's
get
cool
all the
that
achievements.
You can do it because it's like
too.
I haven't bought a thing in the game yet.
I haven't either.
Like,
Strangely
like
enough,
I haven't bought
I've got
single damn thing.
I've got like 6,000 caps.
Yeah,
or something
I am
crazy, and I don't have to
flush in
spend
caps
it
and-
because I can craft my own
Right.
weapons. And
Can I gripe about something real quick? I love crafting things in this game. What I hate is finding gear that's better than anything I can craft. Like I hate that. That really bugs me.
Yeah.
It feels like, oh, well, I've put so many perks in crafting and it's pretty much worthless.
I mean, you can modify stuff with it.
I mean, that's true, but I don't know. It's still disappointing when
Yeah.
it's like, man, I spent so much time finding these materials and getting my perk to a certain level where it would open up new recipes, and I just crafted this thing, and then I went out, and then a legendary mole rat popped up. I killed it, and I was like, oh, well, this is like twice as good as the thing that I just lovingly crafted.
Yeah, because
I
leather
guess I'll use
stuff
that.
caps out pretty low.
Yeah.
Metal stuff is better. I think I still have like 1 or 2 metal things I crafted that are still good. But like I went and dropped 16K in caps from Lucas, the traveling armor smith, and
Yeah.
bought like that mantis equipment. And
Oh, you got it?
Then I modded it out. And I found another unique like metal chest plate that I went and I modded out. And I bought like the only things I'll buy from vendors besides ammo, scrap, and aid is if it's a really good unique item, I'll buy it and then mod it to hell. Or I can buy it, mod it, and sell it for a profit.
Oh, okay.
the unique being identified by the star,
Yep.
correct? Yeah. I get what you're saying, Dave, about that. And my disappointment comes from when you try to break something, when you break something down that you found. Like, say you find some nice armor and you're like, fuck this. I think I want to keep modding my armor.
Right.
Because of pride or whatever.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's pride
I
fucking
get
with
it.
you, bad boy. You break it down and you get steel.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. Why
I
do
wish
I
you could
get
break down unique stuff.
a rare
You can
component
break
of
down.
some
Yeah,
kind,
I would
yeah.
love that. And
And-
I wish the one thing I loved about Final Fantasy XI crafting system was you could buy, because in Final Fantasy XI, like different crystals for the elements we used in different sort of crafting, like leathercraft involved a lot of like dark crystals and stuff like that. You could go and buy special crystals that would then, whatever item that you made, it would put your signature at the bottom and it would keep that.
Oh, that's cool.
So then
Kind of
like
like in Ultima, where you could
Yeah,
put
you could-
maker's mark
Yep.
on your stuff.
yeah, so you could sell stuff and give people stuff, and no matter what, it has you made that, it has your name at the bottom of it.
Forever. Yeah, that's
So-
cool. But that being said, I still love the crafting system. I love that it's in there.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I really do.
Because I can kill. I told you guys I didn't do anything last night except piddle, and you can kill 4 hours just screwing around
Yep.
with. I'm very organized in this game, and I like to keep everything. Like you said, you had a gun shop and an armor shop and a blah 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 shop. You know, I keep all my stuff in separate boxes, and I have the magazine racks for all my books so I can display
yeah.
them. And I mean, I'm all about that because I've mentioned before I'm kind of a collector. And this is a collector's wet dream. And I did say this last night or the other night when we were talking about it, Dave. But you mentioned so many times in the past that you don't mind collecting as long as it's worth something to
Yeah.
you. And all the books and all the bobbleheads and all the things you can pick up in this game do benefit you.
Right.
So
Directly.
in addition to being really cool, again, the art on the comics and the
Yeah.
all the things that they do.
The
I want to be able
holotapes
to,
and-
again, you can't ask too much because they put so much into it. But I want to be able to read
To read them.
comics,
I was thinking
you
the
know?
same exact thing.
I want to read a Grognak
Yeah.
comic.
I
See
do.
what it's
I
all
really
about.
do. Blood on the Harp. I'm in.
Blood
I
on
want
the
to read
Harp
that.
And, there was I can't remember what issue 1 was. It was some blood something.
I like that I found a holotape in the trash can aboard the Brotherhood of Steel airship in one of the scribe's bedrooms, and it is him. His name's like Scribe Preston or something like that, and he is chewing out an initiate for like I thought. Whenever I heard it, I thought of you, Dave. I thought you'd really enjoy this because he's just like. These are rare. I cannot believe you would treat it like this. This was rare even before the bombs fell, and you would treat it like this. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I know how rare Grognet is. What have I told you? Anytime you find one of these, board and bag, sir. I know. I apologize.
That's really great.
Was it okay? So now you said Scribe Preston. So now I've got head fiction in my mind that Preston, before he was a Minuteman,
Preston
he was a Brotherhood of
Garvey.
Steel. Yeah.
Oh man, because what else? What was I gonna say about the settlements? Because I had a pretty good racket going of like just being a drug dealer. God, I make so much money dealing drugs.
Do you go to the diner and just stand around the kid who's crying on the floor?
Because I'll go do a big run, and I'll just make a fuck ton of jet. Because jet, like the pretty easy recipe to make jet, and then like I've got it where it'll sell for like 50 caps per jet, and I'll just go around all the settlements and just like take some jet. Here, have some jet, and then that's why like I have like right now I think I have like 30K in caps, just mostly from drugs and selling stuff back to my own vendors in my town.
Does the happiness in your settlement like spike and then drastically drop?
I did just get out of a vault that the experiment for the vault was to fill the vault with like the worst addicts and to put them through like their own like AA or whatever for 5 years and then open a cache of drugs and just see what happens for the experiment. So when you find it, you find all these records of like all these meetings and people are doing better and they're fine, and they open up the drugs and now they're all dead. You find all the bodies are all holding like liquor bottles and jet containers and psycho needles in their skeleton arms and shit like that. Yeah, like one terminal's really sad because it talks about a guy who's like, I enjoy my sobriety. Everything is better now. And then every day after that is him like getting closer to relapsing. And the last entry is like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And then you find like his corpse underneath the table.
It's interesting that the game can do that to you and make you feel that, because I had a really nasty feeling of sadness when I rolled across this small building next to the lake to the north. I can't remember the name of it, but I went in and there's a holotape. There's a dead Brahmin outside named Bess. And I was like, wow, that's weird. And I saw like a couple rad roaches or something inside, and dog meat was barking like there's something in there. And there was a safe, and I go back. I'm like, okay, dog meat, thank you. I unlock the safe, pull all the stuff out. One of the items is a silver locket. And I grab everything. There's pre-war money. There's some good shit in there. I grab it, stow it away, and I start walking out. When I walk out, I notice a terminal sitting by the front door. And I'm like, well, I've got decent hacking. Let's see what's going on. There is a holotape in that tells a story of a man who met a woman there at that shed, fell in love with her, left. She dies. He realizes that he left the only thing that he had of hers, her locket, in the shed. Comes back with his cat, with his Brahmin. He writes a journal entry where Bess dies because they were being attacked by blood bugs.
I hate those.
And then writes like
oh my God.
one final entry saying that he can't find the necklace.
Damn.
And that he's pretty sure he's going to die there.
Yeah.
It's so sad, and it engages you so much, and you find yourself just like, I can't believe this is a fucking video game.
I couldn't believe that it evoked that emotion for me, because it was seriously like this is making me too fucking sad to play this game.
In my naivety, as they say, naivety. What is the word? Naivety.
I'm not even gonna try.
I'm naive. I fall for shit easy, y'all. The first thing I tweeted, I never tweet. And the first thing I tweeted after I started playing Fallout 4 was, I am so fucking pissed off at Vault Tech right now. And because I believe...
Why is there not a mod where I can piss on the floor?
I believe... smoke some of these fucking cigarettes.
I guarantee you there's a mod where you can piss on the floor.
It'll come. It'll be there.
I've already seen the mods where it's like, make your avatar a porn star.
Okay.
All right. Day two, they had nude mods out.
The John Cena mod where you're like suplexing death claws and shit.
Well, I wanted to believe in Vault Tech, and I had always been, Vault Tech, boy, I know this is probably all stacked against us, and they all had this thing figured out, but man, Vault Tech got these people in here, and they're safe, and for whatever.
Man.
And then we find out that so many of these vaults were just experiments. And
I mean, you find out 1 and 2, and except for the stories for 1 and 2, Vault-Tec is fucked up. And they knew they could get away with it because, all right, we got these people shoved away, bombs dropped, government's gone. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
So.
And I walked into that vault thinking, this is going to be great because we're going to spend some time in the vault for a change, some actual time in the vault. And they're like, just step into this little decontamination chamber. And I'm thinking, that seems legit. That seems right. I mean, of course, we're going to be trapped in here. We're gonna
Bombs just fell, radiation.
It's like going to prison. You get the lie and the, everything. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then they shut the door, and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a fuck. This doesn't. Oh, fuck you. No. And then comes the people that take the baby, and I'm just like, oh, you motherfuckers. I mean, so now I have started playing my character, who I've named Morena, kind of chaotic good. She's very kind of sarcastic. Most of the time she's nice, but every once in a while the sarcasm comes out, and there's this point where you speak to a journalist. Have you done this? Have you been to Diamond City?
No, not yet.
Well, you speak to a journalist, and the journalist wants to know your story. And they ask you a bunch of questions that you can ask. And the story that she publishes is based on your answers, which is really neat. But one of the last questions she asks you was, about how does this make you feel, or how are you feeling now? It's like, well, it gives me hope, but if I ever run across the people that did this to me and my family, I'm going to kill them, So it's like this, it's a real emotion for me. It wasn't just I'm role playing. It was like, I'm really fucking mad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it. I'm going to do this. And I'm playing the story all the time as finding this baby, finding this kid is my driving force. For real. Like, this is the end game. I know it goes so much deeper than that. And but I'm playing this character because I think I can relate to how that would feel. Having your child taken from you right in front of your face and your spouse shot in the head. And this is a good, whereas in New Vegas, you wake up at the doctor and you kind of don't know you're just there.
Yeah.
You're just a courier. You find
Who's
out.
the man in the checkered suit?
Yes, you find out eventually how you were used and how things really went badly for you and how lucky you are to have not died under the circumstances. And and then Fallout 3, of course, that whole weird ass shit, that that was all of it's great. But this one I can really relate to because I have a kid, and I think, how would I be if someone took my child from me? And I would survive, and I would seek out to destroy whoever did this to me. Yeah. I'm already mad because everything we've known and loved was a scam, and it was taken from us in this fiery blaze of, fallout, nuclear fallout, right? And now the only things that matter to me are gone. And I'm going to find them, and I'm going to make the people who took it from me pay. So
that little loading screen blurb that is usually accompanied by the Atomic 50 Styles car, but that blurb about the people in 2077 wanted the things all people want, families, a peaceful home, stability, and what they got was total nuclear annihilation.
Yeah,
it's like, well, okay,
yep,
yeah.
And I read that. I was reading an article about it. My last issue of Game Informer came the other day, and because when you re-up, you get a year, and I think my last issue came the other day, and I read the article about Fallout 4, which is a really good article, just talking about the development process and how long it has taken, and how one of the developers actually got to put his own house growing up as a kid. He put his house in there, and places he liked to go when he was a kid and stuff. Those are all really in the game. And apparently Cheers, you could go to Cheers in Boston.
Oh shit! I got a new mission.
And there's
sorry, Sean.
And there's a skeleton of a mailman. And
nice.
So I got to find Cheers. Yeah. But shit, I don't even remember where I was going with that. What was the thing I just said?
Besides before Cheers?
Yeah. Oh well.
Just
Sorry.
like the designers putting their own personal spins.
Yeah. So anyway, they were talking about designing a game, and just the way that this all came to pass, and the way that they sort of just all brought this together it's just unbelievable. Again, I cannot understand how this kind of thing is possible, and how I know it's hard work, and I know these guys were probably sick as fuck of working on Fallout 4 because it was like 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, that was Bethesda doing it. Yeah, it was like 10 years.
to be a part of that and to go to those extremes and to just say we're gonna fucking take this thing to the next level, I just can't get enough.
I know a common complaint that I've heard is that it's using an older engine. That Fallout 4 is using the same engine that Fallout 3 used.
Yeah.
And
There is a reason for that.
there is a reason for that. Yeah, exactly. It's in order to make a game. I feel like, I don't know, I don't make video games, but I imagine that this game probably took every bit of 10 years to
absolutely.
And
develop.
there's nothing wrong with the engine that it's using. I mean, they changed the skill system and did it for the better, I think. So
agreed.
that's what needed to be overhauled. I don't think the way the game operates needed to be changed. Like, they took a big enough risk between Fallout 2 and Fallout 3 going from the isometric style to first person. I feel like that was their big gamble, and it worked out. So now, like, Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 are fucking epic, huge games, as opposed to like Fallout 1 and 2, which I'd never even heard of, but I'd heard about Fallout 3. So I feel like Fallout 1 and 2 were more of like the old computer, like cult classic games, and then 3 was the first one that was like
Mass appeal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like Half-Life was to Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Or
there's-
System Shock.
System
Yeah,
Shock, yeah.
Bioshock.
But they talked about how the game only runs at 30 frames per second. It can't go to 60, and it's made that way so that it can be bigger. And I think that's why they left the engine intact, because they wanted the game to be bigger, bigger, and more stuff to do. And they made a better. I think it was a worthwhile sacrifice because it doesn't. It doesn't look bad. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Under the it's all the texturing. They can do a lot more with that now than they even
And
could.
like even the lighting effects,
Yeah.
like the fog that rolls in.
Yeah. Oh,
The radiation
cold
storm.
steam.
that shit.
The cold steam.
The cold steam. That shit freaks me out. By the
Yeah,
way.
the radiation
I did not
storm.
expect that.
Yeah,
I
me
was out in
neither.
the woods, and all of a sudden I just.
I know.
Like, why am I getting razz? What the fuck is going
I know.
on?
I was at Starlight Drive-In, by the way, and it's creepy enough as it is, and dog meat is running around like freaking the fuck out. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? I actually said it, and he didn't answer for some reason. I don't know. But you hear that weird thunder
coming in.
sound, and everything starts turning green, and you start taking rads. And I read again somewhere, I don't remember where I read this, the radiation storms coming in is their solution to the problem of that annoying green haze that was everywhere in Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted that to be in there, but they didn't want it to be in there all the time. So these radiation fogs roll in, and they're just creepy as
I
fuck.
feel like that's a better design decision.
yeah, I know.
agree.
I think so too.
Because it is creepy and it really adds to the mood. The other time it rolled in, I was in a cemetery. I was literally standing in a mausoleum when the storm rolled in. And I'm like, and this time I had Preston Garvey with me. I was like, well, come on in here. I'm shutting the door because fucking radioactive fog's rolling in.
I wish a necromancer would have popped out.
Yeah,
That's what caused it. You've got some real fucking Evil Dead situation on your hand. Man.
got to find the Necronomicon.
Exactly.
You
It's a whole
unlock
deal.
a quest
Yeah.
to find the.
And I love everything that goes on, because I told Dave, because I mentioned it on like our first episode, like that I went to the cabin house and then like turned away from going in.
Right.
And I finally went into the cabin house and did that whole quest
This is
line.
the guy who's like, you really don't want to come in
Yeah,
here.
the
right?
ghoul is like, don't come in here. Let me in. You really don't want to do this. Yeah, dude, let me in. Fine. And you hear the door just unlock. And all the robots just go neutral. So then like I finally went in and I did the whole like very because I see there are lots of callbacks to Arkham, Massachusetts, or all the Call of Cthulhu stuff. Because I know there's a this fucked up NPC named Pikmin who lives in the his house at the Pikmin's Gallery, and like I just went in there. Hancock asked me to check it out. I went in, I cleared the house out, and then I found a master lock door that I picked and went in, and it's like this whole big fucked up underground cave with like heads everywhere. I get to the bottom, and all the raiders are like holding up this guy in a suit, and like I save him, and he's talking to me, and he's super creepy. It's Pikmin, and he tells me like this obtuse riddle about where I can get my prize. And like I have to go and find this like certain painting that matches this description. And when I take off the picture, there's a safe in there.
Where
and
is this?
The Pickman's Gallery. It's close to Diamond City.
I'll have to look. I haven't done that one.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And then like you get the safe and you get Pickman's knife, which is a
Ceremonial dagger?
it's similar to the ceremonial dagger.
Yeah.
But it's like super fast and causes tons of bleed damage, and like because Pickman himself, he's a reference to one of H.P. Lovecraft's books. Him and like that poem or whatever that he tells you where his treasure is, your reward for saving his life, and then he just vanishes. And then the Cabot House was very Cthulhu-esque and everything that you had to do. Like whenever I meet the people inside and they're describing things to me, like I don't want to go too much into it because I don't want to ruin anything about it, but I love the quest line.
Well, and there's the Dunwich Borers, which
That was my first experience getting in water while wearing power armor.
Oh, yeah.
Which scared the shit out of me because I wasn't expecting it. Because like you go inside and there's that puddle of water in the center, and like after you get that weird flashback. So I'm like, oh, I guess I don't see where else. I guess I'll go in here. I forgot I was wearing power armor. So I jump in and I just sink straight to the bottom, and my face is right up against the bottom. So I'm like turning around and I'm trying to jump and I can't swim, and I'm slowly just drown. Like, what the fuck was that? Oh, I was in power armor.
Now, where was that?
That is in the Dunwich Borers is in the northeastern section.
Okay. I have not gone there. I actually have moved almost dead down the middle.
Yeah.
But I'm going back and I'm starting to work quests from the north down to the south now. So I'll probably hit that one soon.
The Sneak bobblehead is in the Dunwich Borers, and the Lockpick, there's a bobblehead in the Pickman's Gallery as well.
Ah.
I have one of, well, no, I don't. No.
I found the energy weapons
I have that
bobblehead in Fort
Hagen.
Fort Hagen, yeah.
All right. Can you, either of you, explain to me how the bobbleheads work when they give you a skill bonus, like the lock picking or the sneak bobblehead, or the repair? I've got the repair. I mean, does it
Just get it.
I mean, I know you get it, and I know that it enhances you. But like, for instance, okay, if I want a lockpick, I'm putting ranks into the lockpick perk. Mm-hmm. So how does the lockpick bobblehead
It makes
work?
the sweet spot larger.
Oh, okay.
It makes it easier to pick the lock. It's like you're
physically easier.
You're rolling a D6 now instead of a D8.
Okay.
Type thing. It just makes your chances of doing it.
You're going to break less bobby pins.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So I'm trying to think wherever I found the barter bobblehead, because I don't want to cheat to get any of these bobbleheads. So that's why Dave and I are constantly talking whenever we find bobbleheads. So I found the.
Well, you tell me. I haven't found one on my own yet.
The barter bobblehead, and like I feel like it was one or two issues of like Tales of Junkyard, whatever, for the barter magazines were in this canning factory that this guy has found a way to reopen. So he is like reopened like Luke Ham's cannery or whatever, and he's. Like I ran into another vault, someone who got out of left Vault 81 because they're still wearing their blue suit. Like, I hated it in there. Oh, man, your Pit-Boy looks nice. Mine sucked. I trashed it. Now I've got out and I sell stuff. And I convinced her, I was like, why don't you work for me? Send her to Sanctuary Hills, whatever. But like then I'm investigating this cannery because like, he's like, no, I'm making a killing now. I fixed everything in here, and you see Mr. Gutsy's are like cutting up Brahmin and mole rats and shit like that, and he's revived like the tuna cans that we ate the horrible Asian food out of.
Yes.
Like he's reproducing those, and you find those all over the place. So there's a weird little story in there.
There's also a bobblehead when you rescue Nick Valentine. It's on the desk behind him when you rescue him.
Oh yeah,
FYI.
that one.
I'll keep an eye out for that one. You know what?
And at the
Part of
top
me-
of Corvega assembly plant.
Corvega was the repair.
Yeah, Tyler told me about that one. Part of me is glad that I'm not as far as everybody else in the world because I get to hear all these wonderful things, like where I can find things. I really do feel like that's a perk of not being able to play the game as much as I want to.
Because I'm really delving in right now. My focus isn't, I mean, I'm doing some exploration, but my big thing now is I'm really trying to focus on every companion and maxing out my relationship to get the unique perk that they offer. which people have been complaining about the companion system because if you want to max out your relationship, you have to play a certain way. Like, in order to grow close to them, they need to trust you. So certain actions they don't like.
Right.
So that's why you'll see blah, blah, like that, love that, dislike that, hated that.
That's not a new mechanic.
That's been there.
Yeah.
I mean,
people like, I hate being
forever.
told how to play that game. Don't
Then
use that
don't do that,
companion.
right.
Or just do it long enough to get that companion to like you and then send them on their way. You don't have to fuck with them if you don't want to.
What's the point at which you are aware that you have received your? Does it just tell you get a bonus now?
Yeah, because like you'll get because I've maxed out Piper and Kate so far, and with Piper I got I would see unique every time. Like she loves it when you lockpick, so I basically lockpicked my way into her falling in love with me. But I did that, and occasionally like she would stop me and want to say something, or I would talk to her and choose the talk option and get like. Instead of just like, hey, I just like how things are going. Sometimes I would get it. She'd reveal some of her backstory to me or ask me for my advice. I would get an option to if I wanted to flirt with her. And then if I would flirt and succeed, our relationship would get a little bit better, I did it like 3 times and listened to her about her backstory and her problems until like, because she talks about her and her sister, until finally like I maxed our relationship, did the dark red speech bubble to start a romance with her, and then she's like, okay, yeah, I love you too. I didn't expect this, but this is wonderful. And then the whole like a new screen popped up, like you have just gotten the gift of gab perk for reaching max potential with Piper. The gift of gab perk doubles XP you get from speech checks and discovering new places.
That's awesome. See, I did not know that was a thing. So
Yeah, Kate was different because
which one is Kate?
She is the Irish woman that you save in the combat zone. Have you been to the combat zone?
I have not.
It is a Running Man type thing where people pay 2 people to fight to the death for all these raiders, and she's been like basically enslaved there to kill people for their amusement for years and years and years, and you rescue her, and she comes along with you. She had a incredibly tragic backstory. Like, talk about feeling stuff, like, she has a very tragic, heartbreaking backstory about why she ended up where she was. And, like, she's addicted to drugs. Like, she eventually, the closer you get to her, like, she's very standoffish at first, and eventually she tells you, like, she's addicted to psycho, she needs help. And, like, I didn't get that increasing.
What do you need? Psycho? Here you go.
Here you go.
I got plenty. I make this stuff and sell it. I've been killing.
Whenever you use drugs, at first, it'll be like, Kate loved that. Kate loved that. So it was easy between lockpicking, drinking, and doing drugs that she was like, okay, no, we're good. And she opens up to you. And I'd never had the increasing speech check like I did with Piper. Instead, from her, I got a quest. So then after I go on the quest with her, then we went to the next level. And then shortly after that, then I got the option to romance her if I wanted. I did. She accepted. Then I popped up and I got a perk about like I do so much more damage with some certain weapon set at below 20 health or something like that.
So what did Piper have to say about that?
Nothing yet. I sent her back to after I was done. I sent her to Sanctuary Hills. Like I'm waiting for something to happen. It probably won't.
You're like, man, I'm glad I got all these different settlements. Hey, other girl, you go here. Stay here, Kate. Stay here.
I'm going to put them all together like in Mass Effect when you romance 2 people and they argue, and then you have to do the really hard check to be like, hey, don't worry about it. Settle
There's
down.
enough of me to go around, baby. Come on now.
So now I'm going to work on Paladin Dance because he has, I think he appears to be like the hardest one to impress, but he has one of the best abilities.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know that that's necessarily true because every time you put on your power armor, he likes it.
That's true.
He likes it every time you get into your power armor.
That's not
and
fair.
Then anything you do that is even slightly in favor of the Brotherhood's mission, he loves it.
See, but I use drugs all the time, and he like hates it when I do drugs. So it's just like, fuck, I can't use them right now. After you help Kate, like she quits psycho, and then so it reverts. So instead of liking when you drink and do drugs, now she dislikes it. So
Yeah.
that last stretch is a little more difficult.
Nick Valentine does not like it when you pick locks.
Nick is hard. Yeah, he likes it when you do terminals, though.
Oh, does yeah, because he's always
He'll do terminals for you.
How do you get him to do terminals for you?
Command and then click on the terminal. He'll be like, all right, I can do that.
Because he when you're standing near a terminal, Nick will say, I'm pretty handy with a computer if you need me to look at that for you. Do you get anything from him doing it? You just don't have to fuck with it. Oh, okay.
So I guess if you don't have max ranks in hacking, then he'll just do it for you.
Can Piper pick locks?
I didn't try that.
Because I still got pretty low lock picking. I bet
Piper or Kate could pick locks. I would assume so, but I didn't try it.
I don't think it's not fair to me that Paladin Dance only likes it when you get in power armor, because I'm always already in power armor when I see it.
Let's take it off and then get back.
He really liked it whenever I refused to give Mama Murphy drugs.
Oh yeah,
because Lord Mike and Purdue were like, I killed Mama Murphy the other day.
I know, I read that. I was like, what?
And I was like, okay.
Oh, shit, you can kill her?
Yeah. So the next time she asked for him, I said no and had to pass a very difficult speech check. But whenever I did that, she's like, fine, I'll give it up. No more sight for you then, even though like you're telling her like it's not the sight. And I find like there's I forget what settlement it was, but there was a guy who knew Mama Murphy had the sight and he was trying to find it in other people. So he was doing like fucked up experiments trying to find out, like he was feeding people all sorts of chems because she said it was the chems, and he was like, it's not the chems. So like I know it's like, you don't need this, Mom Murphy. This is a crutch.
You got The Shining.
But then she was like, fine, but I'm not giving you the sight anymore. I was like, okay, fine. But like my whole settlement was like, love that.
I just can't stand Mama Murphy's voice.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, God, it's annoying.
I don't mind it. She's all right. She's okay.
Meh. So what are you doing to get people into your settlements? You spilled in a radio beacon and...
Yeah, every settlement, like... Usually you can scrap enough stuff around town that you can build a small generator and a radio beacon and then attract somebody and then set up a supply line. So that's what I do because I want...
Now, can you get more than... I'm still a little shady on how the supply lines work. Mm-hmm. So if you have one person, are they only going to go between this and that?
Yep.
And you can't have them go here, here, and here?
Right.
So they'll, like, if I've got the Starlight Drive-In, and I bring a few people in or whatever I do, I can get a supply line between Starlight and Sanctuary with one person.
They don't have to be sent out from Sanctuary to anybody else. You can send from that settlement to Sanctuary Hills. So you don't have to send like all your Sanctuary Hills people out. Anytime you attract one person to any settlement, send them to Sanctuary Hills and you get everything.
Okay.
So that's what I did there. Like I think my Sanctuary Hills, I think I have 18 people in Sanctuary Hills right now, and everybody else has like, I think what's the other place, the other big settlement that I used for a long time. They have like 11 people, but really I'm only focusing on Sanctuary Hills because I want there's an achievement for getting 100% happiness, and I looked at the Steam achievements. Like you can tell what percentage of people like have gotten each achievement. Only like 0.1% of people have gotten the benevolent neighbor or whatever perk.
I think it's benevolent leader or something. Like
for getting that. So it's like, okay, I gotta get that. I'm gonna get that soon.
I hear it's. I talked to somebody today at work who plays about that. I was like, hey, because I had noticed that as well. Just for shits and giggles, I was looking at my achievements for Fallout 4, and I noticed. I scrolled down to the bottom, and that benevolent leader one was at the bottom. I was like, 100% happiness. That doesn't seem like it's like I'm not even trying. And I got 80% happiness in Sanctuary. I was like, I'm curious. I'm curious if Shane at work has that. And I asked him today. I was like, hey man, do you have 100% happiness anywhere? Because like that achievement is super rare. And he was telling me no, that he doesn't because he has like this. His big thing is he sells pure water. He purifies water, and it makes him a shitload of money. And he said it makes his settlement extremely happy. And because he can't offset their production with proper defenses, it is impossible for him to get 100% happiness. Because he was telling me how much defense he would have to build to make that settlement 100%, and it was ridiculous because that settlement had so much water that he would have to build. He would just have to build defense. Yeah, because
I was reading on Reddit, and people were talking about it, like that you have to have your defense a lot higher than your food and water. Otherwise, you're just going to get attacked all the time, and the happiness is going to be low. So, yeah, I can see that. And Sanctuary Hills is like sort of rare in that it's right there by water you can do that with.
Yeah.
I know there's also a place, a ghoul encampment called the Slog that I found, where they've set up in an old motel and they filled the pool has fresh water in it, and they're growing tar berries in the bottom, so it looks like a cranberry field in their swimming pool. But you could mount a water generator in there. Whenever I finally got a quest where I could bring them into the fold, so I just like put the biggest fucking water purifier like right in the middle of the pool. No one said anything. Okay, cool.
You can set up a supply line to Red Rocket, can't you?
Yep.
Okay.
See, I felt that one was hard. I haven't done that one yet because like I set up a beacon and stuff, but no one's come there.
I think that one, I have a feeling that one is just for you. I don't think that's like a people settlement. I think that's a you settlement.
It makes sense because it's really close to Sanctuary.
It's really close to
I
Sanctuary.
mean, you could send a
small,
Sanctuary Hills person to that place.
but they won't stay there.
I mean, everyone I've seen, whoever I've sent out, I've seen them at the other encampment. So they don't come back to Sanctuary Hills. Like Vault Tech guy, I sent out to another big quest settlement I got from like the Brotherhood. And another railroad, a railroad person asked me to set it up. So I set that up. I sent Vault Tech guy out there. He didn't come back. So I pulled him back to put him, back in Sanctuary Hills. So like, yeah, wherever you set up, they don't come back. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Anything else has been especially interesting. I haven't been to Vault 81 yet.
Nor have
but
I.
I want to go because I know that's like a vault that's still operational.
Yep. They're
So-
still sealed in there, aren't they?
They open it up occasionally,
Yeah.
like to trade or if somebody like needs something or whatever, they'll open it up and let you in.
And I guess it's sort of like the vault in Fallout 3 where you leave and they're still in there.
Yeah.
Is that vault? Is that 81?
No.
This
No,
one is
101.
101 from
Gotcha.
Fallout 3. Yeah. I don't understand the naming scheme or the
Yeah,
numbering
I'm
scheme
curious about
for the
that,
vaults.
too.
So
I mean, it seems like it's a regional thing because everything in this region most everything in this region is double digits.
yeah, is it your home vault is what 111?
111.
So yeah, I don't.
But
I know
I assume it's like the last one built in that region or something like that.
that makes sense. Okay.
I don't know.
And I know because Vault 0 is the secret vault for Vault Tech employees that no one was supposed to find out about. And then Vault 1, because there's a big list on the Fallout wiki that I was after I finished New Vegas, I poured over that, like looking up all these weird vaults and weird experiments and like the vault, like the master took over because a ton of the vaults were all about the FEV virus and cultivating that and everything that went wrong. So
Have you guys had any dealings with the with synths?
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
the,
yeah.
and the Institute?
Oh yeah. I love everything about the Institute.
I have a
and
theory
Sense.
about the Institute, and it is just a theory. It's based on some stuff that I've picked up since I've quested probably a little farther than you. But I think there's a tie-in with the aliens from Fallout 3.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I believe that.
I do see that little blurb in the loading screen that talk about people believing they even name the aliens in this one as these people who come down and do something like that.
And then
So
that people have been kidnapped by these aliens and disappear, and that is a direct
and the Institute
reference.
taking people and stuff
There's
like
a
that.
direct reference to Fallout 3, and I think that's the big overshadowing mystery in this game is who is the Institute? Where are they? No one knows where they are, and Nick Valentine is a synth who woke up one day in the trash. He was discarded, but all the memories,
The
that he
busted
had-
prototype, yeah.
all the memories that he had are blocked by encryption. And
Who is
all this
he?
stuff.
Who is he based on?
Robo.
What?
Robo.
Oh, from Chrono
Chrono
Trigger. Okay.
it sounds just like he's defective, right? And the rest of the synths beat him up and throw him in the trash.
I'm in the trash. You have to
I
drag
mean,
him
so
out.
far this sounds just like Robo.
It's Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart. Okay.
It's this fedora and the "Hey kid" voice.
Yeah.
It's
That was like who is that based
it's
on?
Humphrey Bogart,
Okay.
definitely.
It's Raphael.
The Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, when he goes out to watch movies,
Right.
he dresses up as Nick Valentine.
Because I was gonna say something about the Institute. Oh, that Institute's based. I guess they're sort of based it off MIT. If MIT had still been around after the bombs dropped or whatever. So like after Fallout 4 came out, MIT changed the loading screen on their website to the the Institute logo.
Oh God, that is awesome. That is awesome. And MIT's in Boston.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I feel like I know my way around Boston.
Yeah, because I was living in DC at the time Fallout 3 came out, and they did a really good job.
Oh, that is the other thing I was going to say when I was reading that article. They said that, the way that the future sort of ended up in 2077 was that it's sort of like the style of the 50s had never gone away, but all the atomic power and the floating cars and the Mr. Handys and all the stuff that they had.
It's why radio's still working. They're not plugged into anything because they're all running
they're
off nuclear
nuclear,
power cells.
right.
Exactly. And so it's like this wicked future, this powerful future of just this amazing technology that's big, giant cars and stuff from the 50s. And they said that they based Boston in this game off of what they believe the skyline of Boston would have looked like had that really happened, had the 50s been sort of where it stopped. So that's why there's not any humongous, massive skyscrapers or there's a couple like Trinity Tower and stuff like that, but they tried to keep it true to the layout of Boston, but made it unique in that it was what they envisioned Boston would have looked like if the future had been what Bethesda sort of that divergent
The ultimate
timeline.
Did you get the bobblehead in Trinity Tower?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where they're all wearing fedoras and the women are wearing their dresses and baking cookies and stuff.
Have you talked to the baseball vendor in Diamond City very much?
No.
Because I did a quest for him, and then talking to him, because I was telling Dave about this, that I guess sort of despite, because Diamond City is the remains of Fenway Park turned into a settlement, and this guy's obsessed with baseball. But I guess there's not a lot of stuff left about baseball, because he's telling me about the legend of all these baseball players, and he's so fucking wrong about everything about it. He's like, well, a lot of players that were called swatters, and this hit percentage that they have on all their cards is this the number of people they would murder whenever they would come onto the field. So swatters were in charge of just murdering people.
That's hilarious. But yeah, that whole taking Boston and turning it into that it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I love them fleshing out, more and more of United States, but I still would love to see a Fallout in another country. I want to see Fallout Moscow.
What I would
that
really
be an
like
interesting thing.
is South America. And
Oh, man.
I think really South America, South, so that you could even incorporate a little bit of Antarctica in it.
See,
Yeah,
I think it would be cool.
I agree that it would be cool, especially in Moscow. But I feel like this game is very
I want to be able to go to Chernobyl and it have less radiation than the rest of the world.
I feel like it's very unlikely, and the reason is because this is
The style.
This is America at its peak. This is America's golden
They have to
age.
change the whole style if they took it somewhere else.
Post World War II America with again the fedoras and the dresses and the big
music.
cars and the prosperity and everything is ideal, and the rest of the world, as far as 1950s America was concerned, just pretty much didn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't think that Vault Tech necessarily would have been an international conglomeration, because they knew, I feel like Vault Tech would have realized the Americans are just going to eat this shit up. They'll buy it. We'll sell it to them. We'll put a spin on it. They'll buy it. We'll make
Out of fear.
out of fear. Yeah, it's wonderful.
And I wonder if it's the 50s mentality, because you find all these comics and stuff like that. You find no porn. And
Right.
In a past episode about Fallout, I talked about that. I really thought that mannequins are Fallout porn because of the way you find them everywhere. So I think that I'm going to double down on that again, because you don't find any porn on anything else. That it's that 50s mentality that is stuck around. That's why there's no mass-produced porn. The closest thing anybody has anymore, mannequins.
Yeah.
We're pretty close to time now.
All right.
Anybody have any last-minute anecdotes, things about Fallout to throw in there?
I think I've covered my bases.
Yeah.
I was really glad to be able to get it all out, and I can't wait to, a lot of people that have been posting on Facebook have been asking for y'all to do more of this, and I would love to see people's comments to tell their stories about what the kind of crazy shit they've gotten into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. That's one of my favorite things is I mean, we touched on it earlier, but just talking to other people and hearing the crazy different experiences where it's like, oh yeah, I've been there. No, that didn't happen for me. That's insane.
That's not
that
what
happened.
happened. Yeah.
And I think this is probably maybe the second game in my series or game franchise in my life that I would actually just like to thank the developers for. You know, I'm really truly grateful for their time and effort and for bringing this around, because I really love it.
This is a special game.
It really
absolutely.
is.
Like you were saying when we were talking off the mics 2 days ago, you have a very similar story to me and to Tyler. You bought this game on release. That's a big fucking deal for me. That is a huge deal for me.
That. Yeah. Bioshock Infinity. It's the last time I did that.
I love to be a part of that
Bioshock
kind
Infinite.
of thing, and it's impossible to not see it or know it. You know, when I was so excited when Bethesda's website changed that day, the day the bombs fell, you know, so to speak, where the countdown began, and nobody saw it coming, nobody knew about it. It was in these days, you can't surprise anybody with anything. Everybody knows something, and of course, it was in the wind. There's going to be a Fallout 4. It was just like Half-Life 3. You know?
sites
Rumors
as well.
about Boston was the only thing I heard about.
But then when they put that countdown on their website, it was joy. It was joy. I was like, oh, fuck, yes. And do you remember, I don't know how old you guys were, but when the movie The Blair Witch Project came out,
I was in high school.
The way they marketed that movie was fucking brilliant.
Oh, yeah, of course,
because you could believe, you wanted almost to believe that it was real, because it was so, they went through the details and all these little clues and all the things that they dropped. Fallout to me is kind of like that, you know, where they just surprise you. They come up and they say whatever, and then at E3, when this is the only time I have said, "Don't bother me. I'm watching something. I'm watching a keynote at E3." When they showed the gameplay footage and the cutscenes and sort of introduced you to what was going to be the storyline. Oh man, I was so pumped, so excited. Just, it's wonderful, and I'm super glad it exists. I hope it keeps going.
I haven't really run into any more. I know this is like a complete, total different direction, but I was thinking about things that people wanted us to talk about. And the last thing I read on Facebook was glitches. I have not run into very many of them, because I would love to talk about glitches, but I have not really run into any huge ones other than the two that I mentioned.
I had a weird one with
beginning.
caps.
With bottle caps?
Where sometimes when I'm trading, it'll fuck up, and I'm supposed to get so many caps, and the vendor will lose I'll hear the cap exchange. Neither amounts change, and I lose the item that I sold.
Oh.
That's happened more than once.
I imagine you have a lot of caps. Do you think that has anything to do with the bug?
It could. Like, I don't know if there's a certain amount that then it fucks up, but that's the only thing I've been like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I'll just reload or go to a different vendor, and then it's fine.
The only thing I've run into glitch-wise was animation glitches, where a character would suddenly just teleport 6 feet to the left. It's like the AI brought it somewhere and it wasn't standing on the star.
Yeah.
So the game's like, no, for this, because it goes into that sort of cinematic or cutscene mode. And it's like, nope, you've got to be here, and it just sticks it there, you know. But other than that, I haven't really run across that much. You mentioned, and I know you said we're close to time, but you mentioned being underwater in the.
Yeah.
Mine was my experience with that was at the mine shaft. There's a big like an open pit mine or something that's full of water, and the guy that works there tells you to, and it's near.
Oh, that first quarry that you come across,
like a
pretty
quarry.
close to Sanctuary
remember the name
Hills.
of it, but he says, "Can you go fix these pipes?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how. I forgot I was in power armor, and I don't know how I'm going to do this. I walked out and I started going in the water. I'm like, oh, sweet, I can walk around in water. So I jumped off the side and went down. And of course, there's this pathway you can follow to go up. And as you go up, you find the bubbling pipes and you repair them. Didn't know you could run out of air in a power armor. So that happened.
Mirelurk
Died.
cakes allow you to breathe underwater.
What?
Yep.
Well, shit. I learned so much.
You have to craft them, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't know this. So, yeah, I was just... But again, it was one of those things. I'm like,
Like,
you like step off the edge, and you're like, okay, there I go. How am I going to get out of this water? I'm pretty much dead.
What are
save? If I'm gonna give anybody, any of your listeners, any advice, they probably already know this. Save your fucking game
A lot.
Take
that extra second and save your fucking game. I promise you will thank me.
What are the off-brand vault booths like Pulaski?
The Pulaski shell, yeah. Like, what was the, like I got in one, the Pulaski's like secure shelter. It's like nuclear protection on a budget.
Yeah, and everyone's always dead.
They're
It's always
always
yeah. And that's like back to glitches. It's like I've had so many skeletons dancing around in Pulaski booths where it's like I'll just be walking down the street and all of a sudden I'll just see like bones just jittering. And it's like, God, that is fucking unsettling.
Mole rats do that to me a lot. When I kill mole rats, they fall on their backs and start glitching real bad. And like, no matter where you stand, they keep glitching. You guys got to leave because it's really unsettling. Yeah.
But the last thing I want to say was something I forgot about until just now. That because I've been rolling around with the Brotherhood a lot. Because I have Minutemen, Railroad, and Brotherhood alliances, but I've been
Weapons
doing more
and armor,
Brotherhood
baby.
quests. Yeah, and I get on their big airship because Paladin Dance makes you an initiate. I get on. I'm doing their missions. Then Dance is like, we're all being called back to I forget what
the police
forget what it's
station.
called. Like, yeah, you go to the police station, and he says we need to go to the Boston airport and get on.
It begins with
like
a
the
B.
Pwifweir or something like that.
Yeah.
I get on that. I meet the leader who promotes me to a knight. They give me a badass set of complete full T60 power armor. And then when I go out and I'm talking to the leader, I'm in a fucking airship, the fucking amazing power armor, weapons, shit all around. And the leader is scared because he's just like, I don't know what to do about the Institute. Their technology outclasses ours.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
His solution is vaporize everything else.
Yeah.
Kill every ghoul, every mutant, every synth, everything. Go
Yeah.
get them. But you get that sweet armor. Oh boy.
So because I have that armor that I wear right now, and then I still kept my other armor, and I completely modified it with lead. So that's my radiation suit whenever I have to get in there. Put on my hazmat suit underneath it, and then get in that power armor, and that's how I had to beat the Children of the Atom because they would just fucking wipe me out with radiation.
My T45, the first set you get, I've got it painted up as Minuteman with Minuteman logos.
Yeah,
You can
I
paint
do
it,
too.
It's free, and I love it.
Yep.
And then I got the set out of the National Guard Armory, the T50, which is missing an arm and a leg. So I got to find it. And then I got the T60. So I've got my Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
fucking
Your collection.
what's his name?
Tony Stark?
Tony Stark's office, at Red Rocket out there by Sanctuary. One other thing, and again, I'm not trying to drag this out, but the one thing I'm super grateful for that would have ruined this game for me and would have made me never want to play it again is that if they had put in multiplayer. I am so glad that this is a single player game because we all know what it's like to play multiplayer with the denizens of jackasses out there on the internet that like to do nothing more than ruin it for everyone.
What about private servers?
That I might be able to handle
Because that's the only that I'm interested in multiplayer, but only if it's a like a Minecraft server.
If you could make
and
it
just
your way,
a very few like 5
has to be a limit
max,
because
or,
otherwise it
something like-
breaks the immersion.
And
of-
I think it should be co-op. I think it shouldn't be like, battling and stuff. I would love it if it were just like I'm going to open up this server and you guys can come in and quest and, your quests can be unique to you and whatever. But I would definitely like that if it could be private. But getting out there in the shit, in the weeds with some of these dickheads that
And I would hate to have
with, I would probably stop playing.
Yeah.
And can you imagine forming like 16 people parties that take out like huge super mutants or shit like that? Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the role playing and stuff like that would be something that I could absolutely get into, really running it serious. Like, take it fucking seriously if you're going to come in here and do this with us. But then again, you've got it, then it would be like World of Warcraft. You're running dungeons and I don't know. I think there would have to be a good balance. And I could definitely see how that would be a good thing. But man, if this had been opened up like GTA, for example, GTA 5, where you just die. You just die.
I haven't played GTA 5.
In the multiplayer, it is exactly what you would expect it to be. It is, you're going to die. Everyone wants you dead, and they can kill you if they want to, and that's that. If you're into that, great, but Dave, I could actually see you.
Yeah, I'm smiling. That sounds kind of fun.
I could actually see you were a PK in Ultima.
Yeah.
I could see you getting into that. Me,
No,
I
okay.
am just, I am antisocial, and I'm not as good at games as anyone else on the internet.
Yeah.
They're all better than me. You know how it is.
I like that Sword Art Online, that anime addresses people who just play PK style, like talking about them. Like, some people do that, and that's fine. As long as it's not real, it's fine.
Well, that's true. That's true. You could be a true psychopath and be out actually killing real people. So if you're going to take it out on anyone, I guess the gaming world is probably the best.
Well, that's the thing about that anime is like everyone gets trapped. It's virtual reality and get trapped. They get trapped in their headsets, and if you die in the game, it triggers radioactive waves in your headset like a microwave and kills you.
Oh.
So anybody who dies in that game dies in real
So
life.
you really need to.
So the PK guild in that game is super fucked up because they're really killing people.
Right. Okay. Wow. I'll have to check that out.
It's a good anime.
It's a good anime.
Cool.
That's all I gotta say about Fallout until like tomorrow.
Right.
So we good? We good? Anything else?
No, I'm good. I feel like
Happy.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Find the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. What are we gonna be doing next time?
depends.
We don't know.
It's up in the air.
We got some things. We're thinking about.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hey, we love iTunes reviews.
Mm-hmm.
We need those a lot. So please, we're up to like 127. We're about halfway, a little less than halfway there for me watching Star Wars. Next episode 6 comes out pretty soon, so if we can get those in, then I'll watch the others and go see episode 6.
It's 7.
Episode 7. You sure? I don't know. Episode 6.
I might be right. I think I'm right.
I mean, I've seen 1, 2, and 3. I don't know how many there are after that.
Wasn't it 250 5-star reviews, and you would sit down and watch all of Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Okay, I can
You
do
did
that.
say that recently.
I have that in 1080p sitting on my hard drive.
I want to be there for that because I love that too. But anyway, yeah.
So please go to iTunes, subscribe, leave a 5-star written review. If there's a guest host you want or a game that you want us to do, include that in your review, and we promise we will get to that eventually.
Don't worry, guys. Like Tyler said, we're going to be back. We'll talk about something. In the meantime, you can always find us on tadpog.com. That's where the show notes live. I'm going to find the video of the girls smoking and pissing. There's going to be other stuff. You want the Fallout 4 nude mod? Probably have a link to that there. I don't know. In the meantime, check us out there. You can also find us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/tadpog. There's a lot of cool people there doing a lot of cool shit, like telling us that we're allowed to talk about more Fallout. So that's why we have done this so many times, is because everyone seems
I want to
okay
talk
with
about
it.
mods next time we do Fallout 4.
Okay.
I'll put that out there now.
You can also find us on Twitter. We are at tadpog_podcast. It's cumbersome, I realize. Thank you for everybody, to everybody for retweeting us, especially our episode announcements, because that really helps spread the word about the show. You call us if you want at 270-883-2555. Leave us a voicemail. Try to keep it under 3 minutes, and we will more than likely play it on the show. It's very rare when we don't play a call.
You have like 6 from me to play still.
We have so many calls that we need to play, which is great. I love that.
If they got better listens, we would just do all calls until January.
Yeah.
But people don't like them as much, so it only once a month.
Yeah. I honestly think it's great that people call, because I listen to so many podcasts that are beyond the shadow of doubt. They are bigger podcasts than us. They have a larger audience. And I feel like they are constantly asking for people to call them, and people don't call them. So I think that's like a point of pride for me.
That you have
is
a backlog of calls.
Yeah, that we
great.
have, people who listen to the show, the wonderful people who call us, because that's really cool. Like, that's one thing that we've got, is we have listeners who want to participate in the show.
Because our intention with the feel of Tadpog is like to feel like you're sitting down and talking with your friends,
Yeah.
because we tell fucking embarrassing personal stories that you would normally just tell your friends and not the entire internet.
Right.
So I feel like that helps establish, and we're not professional gamers that know way more than anybody else.
Right.
So I feel like that establishes like where people like, because I've said like, oh, we feel like we're friends. So I feel like that helps contribute to like, I'll call those guys up. I know all the social stuff that happen to their dicks.
Yeah,
if you know
absolutely.
if you know all that dick stuff, you can call anybody.
So yeah, please keep calling us. That's great. I love that. And lastly, we do have a Patreon. We have a lot of awesome people, a lot of awesome listeners that donate there. If you would like to donate, please do. You can find us at patreon.com/tadpog. We do a monthly bonus episode, and we've got one coming out Friday. Yeah. We're still good.
Thanks for reminding me.
we got one going out Friday. If you want to listen, you'll probably getting trampled at a Black Friday somewhere. So
you're gonna be in a long line.
Yeah,
just listen to that.
Exactly.
Fine.
Or you'll be recovering in a hospital bed somewhere. So you'll have a lot of backlog to go through.
I haven't yet listened to Too Hot for Two Dudes in a Nest. I got to get to that quick.
Yeah, I think honestly,
I like that one a lot.
I love that
Okay,
episode.
I'm there.
That
I'm gonna
is
do it.
one of my favorite things that we have ever done.
Awesome.
Is that episode? I think it's really good. I guess that's it. Other than Ian thanking you for coming on the show,
Glad to be here.
I really appreciate
Trying to
it.
catch up to John Turley in amount of episodes. I'm nowhere.
Do you have
near
a
it.
tally? Do you know?
I think this might be my 5th. I know we're way off from John Turley, but I
Yeah,
think
John was on a streak.
He had like 18, I think.
Yeah,
I think
John was on a
Josh has
streak.
passed him. Josh and Nicole have probably passed him, but
I will surpass. I will become the most frequent host you've ever had.
You're
People are
dedicated?
people are going to leave 5-star iTunes reviews for you just to get me to stop coming on the show. No more of that guy.
You
please.
are like the king of. I feel like you're the king of rearranging your schedule to come on this show, because I do feel like I text you. It's like, I know this is last minute, but we're recording in 2 days.
Tanya's being really cool about it. She doesn't give me shit about coming out here, and we've been together long enough where it's not a big deal. But there is a limit, and God damn it! Every time you text me, I'm just like, yes, I want to be on the show. I want to fucking be on every show.
because we
but
were
I can't.
we were talking about this when you're like, oh no, I can't do it this week. And then Dave's like, 45 minutes after he left, hey man, I'm in on Tuesday.
I came home. I came home last night or Sunday after we finished recording yesterday's episode, and I told Tanya, my son Gage was there too, who wants to be on the show, and I told Tanya, I'm like, oh fuck, they're doing a Fallout episode, and I'm like, I know I've been going to TADPOG a lot. I'm sorry, because I do like to be at home, spend time with her,
Yeah.
and. She's like, well, fuck, if you want to go, go. I'm like, is this a trap?
Right.
Are you sure? She's like, I'm going to sit home. I'm going to watch Scream Queens. I don't give a shit. You can go if you want to. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm going. So I'm like, immediately, I wasted no time. It was Christmas morning. I'm like, Dave.
it was before I left.
Yeah, you
here
were
for
still
last
here.
episode.
Yeah.
It was like,
she can come
Ian's
too.
in.
She's welcome to hang out.
I have
Yeah,
told her
absolutely.
to come by, and I actually told her to come be on the show, and she's like, I wouldn't have anything to say. I'm like, fuck, honey, nobody cares. They would love you. She would be great.
We'll take calls. Anybody can take calls.
Take calls
Yeah.
and let her be thoroughly disgusted by.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And then
That's part of the fun.
my oldest son Gage wants to come on, and he's a gamer, hardcore. He's been playing Fallout. He would love to come on and just be here. I think he's real nervous about it, but he said he would love to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, I have another son too, who he's 13, no, 14. I always get his age wrong. I'm sorry, Miles. I love you, buddy. I would really like to bring him, because that kid games like it's his job. He even has a shirt that says, I game like it's my job. So I think it'd be pretty cool to have him on.
You do a PG-13 episode. It's fine.
Fuck that.
That's what I was hoping you would say.
No. I do not shelter my children. Do what you want, boys. I'll give you some links to the good porn.
I tell you what you need.
No. Turn that shit off. Let me sit at that keyboard.
I got
Move
this
over.
smoking video. It's on the TADPOG show notes. Here you go.
Just tell me how you feel about this. I want to see if it's genetic.
Oh, well, we got to mention Nicole's poor box.
Yeah.
It needs to be filled up. She needs please fill Nicole's box before it
She's
just
mad
shuts
at you
down.
every time you say that.
She listens like once every. She used to listen frequently. Now I bet she listens once every 40 episodes. So please send us stuff just to cram Nicole's box full.
Yeah.
It could be gross food. It's fine.
We'll eat the things you put in Nicole's box.
I will eat anything out of Nicole's box. I feel like as long as it's like sealed and labeled, like we'll eat it. I don't want to get like a mason jar full of like brown stuff. Like people are just like, here you go, TADPOG, eat this.
I'm kind of surprised to hear you say that because I feel like you give it a good sniff and you might try it. Based on like Josh Edwards' box, it's just kind of like, well, I can't believe he's eating that thing has eyeballs. I can't believe he's eating that.
Man, that thing I sent him in the old warped Tupperware container, he ate that. The Cool Whip container into the dishwasher was all warped, and I just put that stuff in it. He ate it.
Yeah, Josh is going to be like, oh man, I meant to put a note in there saying, I found this shit under my house. Don't eat this.
I hope that somebody
Wonder what this was. Please eat it.
somebody out there listening is working a factory job. They're on the line and they seal cheese up. And they heard you just say that, and they're just like, well, let me see what I got in my pocket. They put it on the line, seal it up, send it to TADPOG. Said you'd eat it, motherfucker.
Yeah, just writes craft on it. So please, anything, we love to have those for intros, or if it's big enough, we can do almost a whole episode about it, like Tom and Josh Edwards box. So please send anything like that to TADPOG Studios, care of Nicole Nance, P.O. Box 3785, Paducah, Kentucky 42002.
Can you put care of Nicole's box?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think it would work, wouldn't it?
I do not know how anything works, especially the
mail
postal system. Yeah.
You could probably put, instead of TADPOG Studios, Nicole's aching box, care of Nicole Nance.
We may not get that package.
She'd be like, oh no, this was addressed to me.
No, I ordered this.
Because Ruby Bear and Paul Kluhl was like, what are the dimensions of the box? Like, how big of a dildo do I need that's just barely going to fit in that box for her to pull out of it?
Actually, I don't even think you need to put a dildo in a box, right? You can just slap a label on that and drop it in a mailbox.
Just tightly wrap it in gift wraps. You can see what it is, but it's gift wrap with a ribbon on it.
It's safe. It's safe. It's discreet.
Ian, our theme song.
Moves by Sycamore Drive.
Where can a link to that track be found?
The show notes at tadpog.com, if I remember correctly.
Oh, you're getting as good as John Turley at this.
I know, it's crazy.
We got to bring him in. Hey, listen.
God, I can't wait. Jacob.
He's on Christmas Exodus, like December 17th, 18th, something around the time
if
Star
you can
Wars
talk
is coming
Andy
out.
to letting him come on.
Come on.
Yeah, we got to make this happen.
Surely he and I could be here. We have got to record a special episode. I don't know what days of the week
If
that
you
is.
pull rank as his boss, that's the only way I can see it.
I think that's a really good
That's
idea.
a good idea, but I would give anything for when John comes in, he and I to be the guests on an episode.
No,
let's
I'm
do
all
it.
for that.
Let's do
I
it.
was just telling Jacob about it because Jacob sent me a message. She was like, Ian literally describing Ace Ventura was unexpectedly hilarious. It's like, I can't wait for him and John to be on. He's like, yes, that will be so much fun.
The two of us, I am at my peak. When I got a little whiskey in me and a little John Turley next to me. We're going to be good.
Or a little whiskey next to me, a little John Turley in me.
You know?
Just like the head of John Turley doesn't look like
However you want to think about it, Tadpog Nation.
How should we close this out?
I think we should close it out like Nick Valentine.
Okay. All right. So until next time, tropical Capricorn.
Got any drugs?
See? Got any drugs? I'm glad that like 2 people posted right before we all sat down. Like, you guys should do more follow-up.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Your wish is granted.